Okay, welcome to the program. And it's a Friday once again, July 16, 2021. Thank you for joining us. I do hope you are all well. And stick around as we continue with agenda. And today we are going to be talking about some, I believe, relevant issues that may also be practical in your daily life. Let's tackle that later. But in the meantime, let's go to the first of all, allow me to thank all of you who are joining us via Cignal TV channels 8 and 250, as well as those who join us on Facebook. Maraming salamat po dun sa mga nagme-message, dun sa mga nagpapadala ng mga tips, etc. Thank you, especially those who are joining us abroad via facebook.com/onenewsph, and to my friends who managed to watch the program on replay at 5:30 in the afternoon or via YouTube using the key OneNewsPH. Okay, of course, if you are a Cignal subscriber, please download the Cignal Play app so you can watch us on the go. And para naman doon sa mga kaibigan natin, magpakabit na kayo ng PLDT fiber optic home internet kasi may mga na-interview tayo. Magagaling sana mga resource person or may mga nakaka-zoom tayo pero lumalaglag because most of them continue to depend on their mobile phone for data, and medyo talagang iba yung may dedicated line. Anyway, you are watching us today, and let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star. And there you go, GCQ for NCR Plus until end of July. President Duterte has approved IATF's recommendation to keep Metro Manila under general community quarantine until July 31. But this time, there are no additional restrictions that will be implemented. 29 other areas are also under GCQ, while 8 are under GCQ with heightened restrictions. The stricter modified enhanced community quarantine status is implemented in 7 cities and provinces. And if you want to get the details and you can't get a hard copy of the Philippine Star, excuse me, you can go online and read the Philippine Star online. Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte recognizes that the Pimentels, the family of late Senator Nene Pimentel and current Senator Coco Pimentel, virtually own the ruling PDP laban. Kasi halos sila na lang yung natitirang nagtayo ng original na partido. Okay, this as PDP laban Executive Vice Chairman Coco Pimentel told Vice Chairperson and Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi to form their own political party. Kung hindi kayo happy sa PDP laban, magtayo kayo ng sarili nyong partido instead of supposedly wreaking havoc on the ranks of the party. A faction with Cusi supports the possible presidential run of Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte, while others are backing Senator Manny Pacquiao. Ayun po, kasi kumbaga bubusina, popot-pot muna, no? At saka, I'm sorry, no? Pero daming problema sa kuryente. partido ang pinoproblema. Okay. And the Philippine National Police orders the investigation on fake negative COVID-19 test results. It is reportedly being sold for 1,000 pesos each. PNP Chief Guillermo Eleazar warns that this will not only put other people at risk, but also the country's economy as well. Okay, before we go to anything else, allow me to just point out something. Meron pong hospital na malaki sa Metro Manila na kaya kayong bigyan ng RT-PCR test for 1,000 pesos. Okay? 1,000 pesos. Hindi ko na sasabihin kasi baka maubusan sila. Napaka-crucial nilang public hospital. Ngayon, there are people who claim, especially because of the spread of so many laboratories in the LGUs, there are many people who claim na, kuyang hindi naman ganun kamahal yung patest na yan eh. But it seems that the Department of Health, lalo na si Secretary Francisco Duque, has not moved on this. He lowered it from something like originally 12, 10, 8,000. He lowered it to somewhere in the area of 4,000. But you know, between 4,000 and 1,000 is a sea of difference for ordinary Filipinos. Now, if Filipinos are actually willing to pay 1,000 for a fake test and take the risk of going to jail and having a criminal record because they can't afford a 4,000, it becomes the burden, responsibility, and obligation of government to bring down the current prices of RT-PCR down to the level that Filipinos are willing to pay for a fake RT-PCR kasi kaya po, nagagawa po, and alam ko po dahil may mga kilala akong nagpa-test at binayad 1,000 lang. None other than Congresswoman Janet Garin said yesterday, it should in fact be for free so we can increase our fight against COVID-19 and the variants. And other guests, Anthony Leachon has pointed out that our testing numbers are so low, it's not even funny, and it is already a health risk. Okay, so ayun po, hindi ko nabababaran yan. Pero yun po, no, kasi napoproblemahin ng PNP. We give the burden to the PNP to look, investigate, find these people, when all you have to do is essentially say, okay, from now on, 1 o 1,005, sige na, o 2,000, laban na tayo, larga na yan. Ha? Dehado, sa dehado, naging sabong no? But anyway, that's the point, okay? Make it affordable to the point that it competes even with the criminal elements. Okay, now, quote for the day. Medyo mahaba, pero very relevant po sa mga nangyayari ngayon. Okay, ito, no? Quote for the day comes from the book of Proverbs in the Bible, chapter 6, verses 16 to 19. Proverbs, chapter 6, verses 16 to 19. Kasi here, you just listen to it and I will elaborate. There are 6 things which the Lord hates. Hate ni God, ayaw ni God, okay? Yes, 7 which are an abomination to Him. Okay? Haughty eyes, yung mga mayabang na paniningin, yung mataray ang tingin. A lying tongue, sinungaling, and lying can be white, can be outright, can be a barefaced lie, basta lying, pagsisinungaling. Hands that shed innocent blood, kinamumuhi ng Diyos, kinasusuklaman ng Diyos yung mga nagdadanas ng danas ba nagdadanak ng dugo o kaya shedding blood. A heart that devises wicked plans, yung mga nagbabalak, nagplaplano ng mga masasamang gawain. Feet that run rapidly or quickly to evil. Yung bang, kumbaga napakakalad ka rin mong gumawa ng masama o magkasala. Parang hot na hot ka. Hot na hot kang pumunta sa impyerno, no? A false witness who utters lies. Naku po, lahat tayo guilty dyan. False witness. Alam nyo kung bakit? Ano ba yung pinaka-Filipino application ng false witness? Yung chismis. Yung mga haka-haka. Yung mga ika nga ay sinasabing, uy, alam ba ninyo na si ganito, si ganon? Nako, false witness po yun, ano? And one who spreads strife among brothers. Okay. Habang hinihintay natin ang ating mga lineup for the day, where is all of this going? If you've been watching the news, okay, chances are you may have heard how certain media organization, actually hindi po mga stations or newspaper, kumbaga yung mga National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, the Foreign Correspondents Association of the Philippines, etc., etc., sila po ay nagsalita tungkol sa mga yung bang mga paggalaw, yung mga ika nga conduct unbecoming daw of a spokesperson. Some groups have slammed presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, okay, for the way he conducts himself in particular occasions. Kasi marami-rami na rin siyang kumbaga ginawa na parang nakakasakit na siya ng damdamin ng mga tao o sinasadya niya na mangutya. Okay? He intentionally, how do you put it? He intentionally provokes, insults certain groups, or maybe not intentional. Perhaps it's not intentional. Maybe he just doesn't realize it. Kasi it's interesting that one time he he attacked or he berated or sermonized, castigated a correspondent, and turned out that he was castigating the wrong person. Okay? So recently, he said the PDP laban before President Duterte had only enough members to fit in a jeepney. And then, etc. Well, let's go to our first guest this morning. Baka maubusan ng pasensya sa akin. Bossing ko pa naman to sa Philippine Star. Congratulations on the 35th anniversary of the Philippine Star. Boss Marichu. Muntik ko nang sabihin. Anyway, Icho, good morning sa imo. Marichu Villanueva, Associate Editor of the Philippine Star.
Hi, good morning. Cito, long time no see.
Ay, mabuti na lang.
Okay.
Mabuti na lang pinagbigyan mo ako kasi baka mapagkamalan ako nagsesermo na dito na nagpe-preaching na dito. Because honestly, I have to go to the Bible. I have to quote these things to remind myself not to jump in and get involved. Kasi just this morning, I was listening to a preaching by an American pastor. By coincidence, the preaching was how to react to mean people. Okay?
Wow.
Allusion to, I'm not alluding to any person, pero kumbaga hindi ba pag may nang pipikon sa'yo, nangaasar sa'yo, gusto mong gantihan, gusto mong upakan, gusto mong murahin. And he was saying, that's the human nature. But do unto others as you would others do unto you. Sabi ko, pag yun ang sinunod ko, marami ako mapapatay. And his preaching was, step back and do the right thing. Now, mawawala tayo sa pinag-uusapan natin. Ang topic for the day, ito na naman si Secretary Harry Roque na ano bang, Marichu Villanueva is a veteran of Malacanang beat. Ang dami mo ng presidenteng na-cover. what's your reaction to all of this?
Cito, not just presidents, but many presidential spokespersons I have been able to deal with in the past. And fortunately, some are characters, some are not. But Secretary Roque takes the cake, as you put it, because he really acts out his principle to the usual cuss without the cussing and cursing. He is a little bit a notch lower than his principal because he's using very colorful language like his principal and very unprecedented spokesman like words. I cannot say even unprecedented because his principal is unprecedented mismo, di ba, Sito?
Mhm.
So he's just trying to replicate his principal. So I cannot blame much Secretary Roque for acting out. Kaya nga lang, exaggerated like his boss.
Okay, I can ewan ko, I don't know what position to take here. Para akong ang journalist na nawawala sa sarili. Kasi, but okay, so he is acting unpresidential spokesperson because he is representing an unpresidential statesman or unstatesman-like president.
Yes.
Those are terms, definitions. Pero let's talk about consequence. Kasi ilang beses na rin nagawa yan ni Secretary Roque where he let go of comments, accusations, or words that really cut people, and this has consequence. Do they even give a damn about consequence, or sa kanila wala silang pake kasi they're so confident in their posture, in their position?
Yes. Sito, let's go back to day one of this administration when the president himself is speaking and no one else is, there's no official spokesperson yet. At that day one, even before days, he was just the president-elect, he had already set the tone of how the president speaks and acts. So when his first presidential spokesperson came into office, like you, he is a preacher. He's a former preacher. You remember he's now DFA undersecretary right now. At least he was able to tone down the president's kind of language because at the outset, di ba, you remember, he even threatened media. He presented outright how he will treat media, na he cannot be bullied by these bullies in media. So,
Mhm.
fortunately, he has that kind of presidential spokesperson na katulad mga preacher. He is able to tone down the unpresidential-like manner of speaking of the president. Unfortunately, yung mga he found himself interpreting the usual alibi niya. It's just a hyperbole, di ba, mga usual alibi niya noon kasi he's trying to tone down nga yung mga sinasabi ni presidente. Now the president looked for a person who really represents him, who can really even replicate him, para siyang little Duterte. Di ba? If you notice, since he assumed office, Roque has assumed that kind of I'm not the one, I cannot be bullied because I'm speaking for the president and whatever I say comes from the president. Except one time na nagkamali siya, remember? Kaya nag-resign siya noon na he pretended to know that the president did not have a medical checkup when indeed he had a medical checkup.
Where is the
So,
president, or is the president in Hong Kong? And actually, dalawang beses yun where
oh,
he said, oh, he's in Malacanang. And when it turned out that the president wasn't in Malacanang and Harry Roque was excluded from the circle of communication,
yes.
he
Oh,
felt insulted, rightfully so. He felt
yes.
insulted na, teka, kung ako spokesperson, eh, hindi man lang niyo ko sabihan, eh mag-resign na lang ako, which he did.
Yes,
Mm.
kasi he would look like a liar. Not look like, but he came out as a liar or trying to say false things na Eh, yung pala, talagang blindsided siya. He was not even informed that he indeed undergo a medical checkup and he indeed went to Hong Kong. So from then on, both sides learned their lessons, and now Roque is within the circle of the president's
Yeah, but
whispering club.
okay. Yeah, now, alam mo, ayokong banatan si Secretary Roque, no? Kasi, I mean, you know, after a while, you just get sick and tired of it, and then you realize that it doesn't achieve anything, and the best thing to do is maybe to feed positive things. You check
Yes,
my work in the Philippine Star, and
yes,
sinulat ko yun a few days ago, na there are government appointed political officials, politically appointed officials who have started speaking disrespectfully, almost acerbic towards elected official. Kumbaga, oy, nakakalimot na yata kayo ay political appointees laang at itong mga pinagsasalitaan nyo or these people that you insult or attack on air are elected officials. What should be the rule? What should be the norm or guidelines for people like Secretary Roque? Kasi at the end of the day, he could make or break things in terms of
yes,
communication, and I
yes,
would rather try to help him than attack him. But how
yes.
do we help him? What is your advice to guys like Secretary Roque?
You know, I don't like you. I don't pretend to know everything, because as we always adhere to, opinions opinions can never be right or wrong, but facts should always be correct, di ba? And for our own opinion, we don't agree with some of his of how he does things, but if we base it on facts, the presidential spokesperson, Secretary Roque, is delegated all the authority and responsibility typical of any other cabinet officials. And as you notice, many of them are even attacking, as you said, and they are a political appointment, and they attack political allies.
It's you.
Yes, yes.
Can we go for a break na muffle yung microphone mo? We'll go for a quick break. Let's fix things and pakainin mo muna yung tuta mo. Mukhang mainit na ulo eh. Okay,
May dumating.
okay. We'll go for a quick break and let's tackle what presidential spokesperson can do and what government officials should bear in mind. We'll be right back here on Agenda. Okay, before we go back to Cito Villanueva of the Philippine Star, we have a video for everyone to watch para medyo to put context into today's topic. Arvic?
Please do so. We will link you up with them. If you care to call us, Virma Rivera, please do so. We will link you up with them nang malaman natin kung sino talaga ang nagsasabi ng katotohanan. Okay.
Okay, I had to ask Arvic Tolentino, our new executive producer, to hear that. Kasi ito parang, I mean, normal na yun kay Harry Roque, but then, is the normal of Harry Roque the accepted norm or conduct of behavior? And going back to what I asked, what should Harry Roque be doing?
As I was saying a while ago before I was rudely interrupted by my dog,
Hoy, linya ng tatay ko yung rudely interrupted, ha? Okay, go ahead.
anyway, as presidential spokesperson and cabinet member, he is the alter ego of the president. So, and as we know, the management style of President Rodrigo Duterte is is a delegated one. So authorized him to speak for and in his behalf. So whatever he does and speaks about, it has all the presidential authority. So we cannot accuse him of going beyond because he was for the last since he assumed office he was never censured or was never denied by the president after that first incident na he was totally false pala in the information and as for the past few weeks I have noticed that the president even gives him upfront mga political views niya, even about the presidential daughter. So I don't think he's overextending himself, but I think he should not be tawag ito yung strict jacketed on how to perform his job the best way he knows. And I think he knows very well how he's doing his job. Except that, di ba, he has admitted naman that he might run for the May 2022 elections for unknown positions yet. So we can expect that he can go a little bit more the disciple of his politicking in front of media and going around the country as presidential spokesperson. Yun ang hindi niya na-differentiate yung kanyang political self from his being a presidential spokesperson.
Actually, I made notes here nga, and one of my notes is he doing his job or is he doing his job? It seems hard to delineate now between presidential spokesperson for the IATF, and
Yes.
speaking for Harry Roque, the perhaps future politician. And as a teacher of communications, hindi naman ako professorial dahil wala man lang ako masters, this is violation of terms of engagement. Kasi as a spokesperson, you have to be focused on one avenue. Hindi pwede yung multiple roles under one title. What's the consequence of all of this? Anong kalalabasan natin dito?
Minor correction lang, Cito. Si Harry Roque was once a party list congressman. So we cannot say that he is not a politician. So kaya nga sa pinili ni Pangulo dahil nakikita niya sarili niya kay Roque when he was a congressman, when he is a politician. So and he is a lawyer too, like the president. And so he believes the president believes that he can do the role that he has been doing, multi-role, multitasking. He was a former Davao City mayor, a lawyer then, and now he's president. Talagang everyone, like especially now with the COVID-19 pandemic, everybody has to take extra tasks to take. So he designated him as official spokesperson for the IATF. Dahil noon, ang simula ng March, it was Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles. However, Nograles was appointed as co-chairman of the IATF. And tapos si spokesperson Harry Roque does his daily briefings. So minsan nagkakaroon ng confusion. So they decided na isa na lang ang spokesperson sa IATF and it will be Harry Roque so that he can speak at the same time as spokesperson and as IATF official spokesman.
But,
So
but
that's
was that really? But was that really the reason behind the removal of Carlo Nograles? Kasi ang pagkaintindi ko kanya sa sources ko kanyang inalis si Carlo Nograles, masyadong gumagwapo, masyadong lumalapad ang papel, ay baka pagbalik niya sa Davao, labanan pa niya yung mga Duterte camp na tatakbo for mayor or what congressman in Davao. That's according to my sources. Now, meron naman isang nagsabi na medyo parang may na-overlap daw ni Nograles yung teritoryo ni Secretary Roque. So parang there was a conflict of interest within the group as far as being the spokesperson.
Apparently, your sources was given the wrong impression. Kasi right now, we can see that maski nawala si Nograles, and there is still confusion among the IATF. Well, di ba, iba sinasabi ni Harry Roque, he did not achieve the purpose. Pero yung
Tama yung sources ko. Kanya lang, nung inalis nila si Nograles, hindi rin na-solve yung problema nila dahil sila pa rin.
I mean, yung kay Nograles, nadagdagan pa nga siya ng trabaho, di ba? Naging chairman siya ng anti-hunger and poverty.
Ay, hindi
So,
kasi,
yung angulo na yun.
Hindi kasi malapit na eleksyon. Na kailangan nilang mag-launch ulit ng 12 na naman na senatorial. Ikaw naman, no?
I mean, nadagdagan pa yung trabaho ni Nograles. So, yung sa political side, hindi siguro yun valid.
Okay.
But yung latter side pa mas valid.
Yeah, okay. But last question ko, Ichu, no? Because I'm
sige.
sure you'll have a long answer to this question. In terms of communication, public information, in terms of the benefit to the public, itong mga ginagawa o nagiging conduct ni Secretary Roque, is it beneficial to the Filipino people, number one? Meron pa nag-aayos ng centering nicho. Dami talagang big time ng boss ko eh. Okay, anyway. Is it beneficial to the public? And at the end of the day, should people be castigating, criticizing, or going after Harry Roque when he behaves the way he does?
He needs to be, his attention needs to be called right at the moment he makes the bad behavior. Dahil, kung I was just taking myself for example, na yung aking nung cabinet members, mga cabinet members, spokesperson, when we have press briefing, we call the attention already if there is, we think we were not treated properly. Kasi right at the moment, dapat i-call mo na attention niya eh. Kasi minsan nakakalimot siya eh. And to his credit naman, Secretary Roque admits naman publicly when he is wrong. So there is still hope for Harry Roque in the remaining 1 year, especially with his political plans.
Okay, so that's a different basket of goods altogether. But what about in terms of benefit to the public? Kasi parang may mga nagsasabi it sets a bad example kasi ngayon marami ng mga opisyal ng gobyerno, there are a number of government officials who are now following the way he does things in their choice of words, in verbally criticizing certain officials, lalo na nga yung kay Pacquiao, parang naging whole of government attack against Manny Pacquiao. What about that?
Ganun din naman ang resulta sa kanya. He is the favorite meme right now in the social media. Right away, the moment he makes those statements, nababash din siya sa media, sa social media, I mean. Kasi tayo namang sa mainstream media, we don't engage in that kind of trivia. But naman ang social media, if we in the media are so licentious because of our freedom of the press, social media is much worse and much unforgiving, di ba? We have
Yeah.
seen him, di ba? Kaya umiiyak din si Secretary Roque na about the trolls that
Mhm.
the opposition are saying na attacking them. Eh sabi nga ni Secretary Roque, ako rin eh, saan katerba yung trolls ko? So, it goes both ways, it cuts both ways na
Uh-huh.
both sides are also, katulad ni Secretary Roque, both cuts both ways.
So, when you give, you must be willing to receive. Okay.
Yes. That's why when you said yung sa FOCAP na complaint sa kanya, I could not take the side of the BBC. Are they asking for special treatment? If Roque treats the local media that way, are they asking for special treatment? If you can
Or
dish
no, but you're right there. Yeah, are they asking for special treatment, or is the FOCAP doing something that the local media should be doing, standing up for themselves? And kasi I mean, dalawang beses na may tinira si Secretary Roque na babae. And yung una nga, I remember yung tiga CNN yata yun or something,
yes, yes.
sinabo niya pagkatapos it
Yes.
turns out wrong party. Parang, excuse me sir, party line lang po ako. Iba ho yung pinagsasabi ninyo. Shouldn't local media finally stand up?
They have been standing up. Like, for example, if kasi I watched the daily press briefing of Secretary Roque, the Malacanang reporters there, the very young ones, are arguing and are locking horns with him. Like many of our sa Channel 5, si Maricel Halili, di ba? They can lock
Ako,
horns. Di ba?
takot ako doon kay Maricel, masyadong matapang yan.
Diba? May Los Baños, they can lock horns with him. So that's the way to do it. You cannot be treated like babies in the woods. If you can dish it, you must be ready to take also, di ba?
Okay,
So,
so
that's the point of this
Okay.
thing against Roque. Na
Okay.
be able to be bullied from a bully and you bully him back. Ganun lang, di ba?
bully him back. Last question. Anong panahon mo ba, all the time you were Malacanang beat reporter or correspondent, senior correspondent, matanong ko lang, was there ever a time na the Malacanang press decided enough is enough of this bullshit, we're walking out? Parang, was there sige nga.
We did. Kami yung Malacanang Brat Pack, remember? Sina Malu Mangas, Joel Paredes, and we lock horns with no less than the most popular lady, most popular leader of the world, the late President Cory Aquino. Nag-walk out kami, nag-black t-shirt kami, protest. Yung kasi yung panahon na yun, the late press secretary, Chidor, was being accommodating with the FOCAP, with the foreign media, and yet he does not give us press conferences with the late Mrs. Aquino. So we put that in black and white, and we literally total news blackout. For 2 days yata yun, until Mrs. Aquino called Joel Paredes to a meeting and asked him, let's settle this. From now on, you will get what you want, equal treatment, and no more favoritism, as you said, as you claim. Yun,
Okay.
diba?
At mabuti naman at yung aking palang memory ng elepante ay maayos pa. Thank you very much for this morning, Ichu. It's been a very interesting interview, and also I think full of nuggets that both the local media and the public can pick up on, that we all have our responsibility, and thank you for your input, Ichu. God bless you.
Thank you. Stay COVID-free.
Okay. That is Marichu Villanueva, Associate Editor of the Philippine Star. And ayun po, no, just to wrap up on this particular segment, we will continue to discuss this issue regarding how we conduct ourselves. Pero alam niyo po, yung sinabi yun ni Icho, nangyari yun. I remember that because at the time, my father, Louis Beltran, was still a very active journalist, and yun nga yung time na nademanda siya ng libel ni Cory. Pero the Malacanang press, the Brat Pack back then, didn't fight back verbally. They signified their protests, their grievances formally in black and white, and held a news blackout on Malacanang for 2 days. I'm not inciting people into insurrection or rebellion, but when people conduct themselves in a very disrespectful manner, when they use language that is not acceptable, when people or particularly government officials start behaving like they own the property, then it is incumbent upon us, the citizens, to remind them formally, officially, politely, maybe pray for them so that God would give them wisdom. But it is our responsibility to do something and say something. Kasi ang nangyayari po dito, ilang beses na gagawa ng magsasalita ng wala sa lugar o hindi maayos ang isang opisyal, they speak out of line or disrespectfully, and we will attack on social media, and when the person apologizes, oh, okay, no problem, quits. But when a person does it repeatedly, meron ngang kasabihan, there's a saying in English, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Eh, dito po, pag nagkakabastusan na, nambabastos na, once, fine, twice, maybe, but on the third time, okay, we really have to put our foot on the ground and say, and also, I mean, si Presidente naman, ginawa naman yan. President Duterte, to be fair, has actually censured some of his own people. He put a few people to pasture, o mag-study leave ka muna, o mag-resign ka na lang muna, etc. And then at the later date, sige, balik ka. But it is also a message that, you may be doing your job well by the definition of President Duterte, but it may not necessarily be beneficial to President Duterte. Kasi ang nangyayari po dyan, ang tapang mo, tira ka ng tira, sagot ka ng sagot, o matalas ang dila mo, as Tagalog people will say. You have such a sharp, cutting tongue, okay? And you're so proud of yourself, but then you don't realize that you are causing more harm to your principle than good. Dito po, medyo na-focus kay Harry Roque. I'm not going to call him names. I'm not going to insult him or make fun of him. I'm hoping that he comes to realize that, because alam niyo po, from what I know, from what I recall, Harry Roque claims or considers himself to be a born-again Christian. He attended the National Bible Breakfast with Manny Pacquiao many years ago, and I was in attendance there. Nasa kanto na lang ako. And I remember one time nung tinanong si Harry Roque na paano nangyari na nakakuha ka ng kwarto sa PGH when you have COVID, and ang daming hindi makakuha ng kwarto at namamatay. And I remember him saying that's a very unchristian question. So clearly, in his mind, Harry Roque believes he is a Christian. And if you are a Christian, then I think it follows that you remind yourself constantly, am I really being Christ-like, not only in my thoughts, not only in my professed faith, but also in word and in deed. Kasi yun po ang kailangan natin. Anyway, let's go for a quick break. When we return, we hope we can bring in our next guest, because ang pag-uusapan po natin, yung 2 linggo, 3 linggo ko nang pinag-uusapan yung Delta V variant in Indonesia, na finally, umabot na rin sa DOH at sa Malacanang na mag-travel ban na at bigyan ng focus itong Delta variant na ito. Yung COVID Delta variant. Okay, we'll go for a quick break here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and you are watching us via Cignal TV, channels 8, and for high definition television, channel 250, and also on YouTube. Just enter One News PH, and also on Facebook.com/One News PH. And for those of you who are wondering, ano ba meron sa Cignal TV? Let me warn you, ako po after so many years, dekada na yata, isang dekada na yata, after so many years, I fell into channel 172 and 173 of Cignal TV. Yung bang Gem and Waku Waku, ayan, panay ang panood ng Japanese and Korean programs sa gabi. Yari tayo. Okay, let's go to the more serious topic for today. We have a regular of agenda, Dr. Rontgene Solante, head of the Infectious Diseases Department of San Lazaro Hospital. Doc Rontgene, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Sir Cito. Good morning to our viewers also.
Okay, Doc Rontgene, I don't know if you heard my intro, my extra earlier, pero this would be week 3 na nangungulit talaga ako sa lahat ng opisyal ng gobyerno to pay attention to the Delta variant, COVID Delta variant. Kasi sabi ko lalo na sa Indonesia na hindi ko nadidinig na binabantayan yung southern borders natin. Last night, I was medyo startled when government officials, DOH officials, basically stated it is not if Delta variant reaches the Philippines, but it is when Delta variant. So in other words, they are already resigned to the possibility, if not the fact, that the Delta variant will come into the Philippines. But do you think it will be a contagion, an epidemic, the same way it is now in Indonesia?
Yes, no. On that note, nakikita na natin yung mga trends ng surge of cases. Actually, not only in Indonesia, but also in other countries, no, like UK, US. There are already states na tumataas ang mga kaso. And basically, this is driven by this highly contagious and highly transmissible Delta variant. And that will be expected once it comes and it enters our country. Napakataas ang risk ng community transmission nito. And I don't know, with just what happened to Indonesia now, I hope that will not happen to the Philippines.
Okay, my friend and more senior columnist in the Philippine Star, Mr. Bu Chanko, posted something on Facebook about variants. And sinabi niya doon na according to an expert, yung variants daw, iba-ibang klase naman ang pagtingin sa variant. There are highly transmissible but not not serious. There are transmissible and deadly. Meaning yung isa madaling makahawa pero hindi na masyadong marami ang nao-ospital. At meron naman daw variant na malakas na ngang makahawa and mas marami pang nao-ospital. Could you elaborate? I don't know, maybe I confused my reading kasi madaling araw ko nabasa. Could you just explain on that, Doc Rontgene?
Yeah. When a virus mutate, okay, it mutates to its advantage, no? And what is that advantage? So that it can survive sa katawan natin, no? Like basically for this COVID variant, yung variant of concern, nakikita na natin ngayon na its ability to stay in our body longer based on the continuous transmission of the virus. So that's the selective advantage, no? And with that, ang isang advantage niya ngayon, yung mutation niya is at the spike protein, no? Para lang maintindihan ng iba. The spike protein is the part of the virus that attaches to our cells. Okay? So, minimodify niya yung spike protein niya para mabilis siyang makakapit sa cells ng katawan. Now, among these 4 variants, you have the alpha, the beta, the kappa or the theta, and then you have this delta variant. No? The delta variant has found to be the fittest, no? Pinaka-fittest siya among these 4 variants. Ibig sabihin, madali siyang kakapit at mabilis siyang dumami. No? So when you have that character of a virus, mas madaling dumami in the cells, especially in the airway cells natin, kung saan dito sa upper respiratory, kung pag-ubo natin, no? Mas marami yung virus na ibubuga. So in a way, yung UK variant, 2 or 3 lang ang pwedeng mahawaan pag isang tao. Ito pwedeng 5 hanggang 8. Ganun siya kataas ang rate of transmissibility. Now, ngayon, sa mga variant, out of these 4 variants of concern, may nakitaan na ang UK variant, there are already studies na mas mabangis siya in terms of mas mabilis siyang kumakapit at mas pwede rin siyang mas mataas ang risk na maging severe. No? May mga data na doon sa ibang bansa. Ngayon, ang Delta variant, ang nakita pa lang, mas mataas siyang kumakapit at transmissibility. Pero there are ongoing studies kasi it will take time eh. For example, for a population, group of patients, let's say 10 patients, merong COVID, and then 5 of these 10 severe. Titingnan nila doon, among the severe, ano ang variant of concern. Pag nakitaan nila yan na out of the 5, 4 ang Delta variant, then merong possibility na it's not only highly transmissible, but can also be virulent and can cause more severe infection. Now, ang tansya ko dito, Sir Cito, when you have a virus that easily attaches to our cells, tapos mabilis siyang dumadami, chances are, mas mabilis din siyang dumadami sa loob ng katawan natin. And that is one indication na pwedeng magiging severe ang isang pasyente, ang isang kakapit.
Okay. Ngayon, matanong ko, Doc Rontgene, Dr. Solante, itong vaccination program natin, I mean, it seems to be really picking up. What is its protection against the Delta variant? Kaya bang maiwasan ng Delta variant if you're vaccinated, or will you, if you get infected by the Delta variant, what are the possibilities?
Okay, so may mga bakuna na rin na tinetest nila yung antibody nila doon sa variant na to. Majority, medyo nabawasan ang potency ng mga antibody, no? The potency is not enough na yung pagbawas, it's not enough na major na hindi tayo protektado. In short, even nabawasan, meron pa ring protection. Okay? Kaya palagi nating sinasabi yan na despite this threat of a variant, as of this point, hindi pa ganun ka bangis itong mga variant para mababa ang efficacy ng mga bakuna. And that's why we need to vaccinate more para at least when all of us are vaccinated, kung kakapitan ka man, no? That's a possibility. Kung kakapitan ka man, at least may panglaban ka na hindi naman tutuloy doon sa more severe form of the infection.
Am I correct na dun sa mga like yung mga resurgence or countries na were already relaxing their protocols because of mass vaccination? Am I correct to say na yung mga tinamaan doon were mostly unvaccinated, yung mga bata, yung mga hindi pa nagpabakuna, or pati ba yung mga meron tinamaan?
Yes, mas maraming natamaan na walang bakuna kaysa doon sa merong bakuna. Although meron ding natamaan sa may nabakunahan, pero hindi na ganoon ka-severe yung mga presentation nila, no? And in fact, doon sa mga data na yon, nakikita natin na napaka-importante ang bakuna in these areas na mataas ang Delta variant. Kaya nakikita natin ngayon, in countries where Delta variant is already one of the dominant variants, pinapabilisan nila yung vaccination rollout, no? They modify, they open the vaccination center 24 hours, no? To the point na talagang meron na silang target in a day para lang mapabilisan, maraming mabakunahan. At the same time, mas mabilis ang protection kasi it takes time for the vaccine to work, no? 2 weeks after the second dose. So meaning, kung nandito na yung variant ngayon tapos hindi ka mabakunahan, your protection will still be 1 month and a half after the giving the vaccine, no? Kaya dito rin napaka-importante ang minimum health protocol.
Yeah, I think that's what happened in Europe because yung anak ko nga nagkukwento kahapon that maraming tinamaan yung mga taong naka first job, nagpunta na kagad sa mga party, sa mga sporting event. Yung iba naman naka-second job pero hindi hinintay yung 2-week incubation period ng vaccine. So lumabas, ayun, puro mga tinamaan. Now, last question, Doc Rontgene. There are people who still are pushing for RT-PCR, etc. Sabi ko nga kanina, kung nagbabayad yung iba ng 1,000 para sa peke na kapirasong papel, hindi ba kaya ng ng gobyerno magbigay ng murang RT-PCR in the area of 1,000 to 2,000? Because I know there is one government hospital na yung kanilang RT-PCR ay 1,000 lang pero very limited and only to a specific set of people. Kayo dyan sa San Lazaro, ano bang experience nyo?
Yung dito sa amin, ang tinatanggap namin dito na libre ang RT-PCR namin dito, no? Kailangan ka lang meron kang PhilHealth. So you should be a PhilHealth member. And pag meron kang PhilHealth, walang bayad. Hindi kami sumisingil dito ng RT-PCR test.
Okay. I hope that that spreads out kasi dito sa probinsya, karamihan mga private hospital, konti ang large government hospital like San Lazaro. But we can pick up this issue. Doc Rontgene, I know you're a very busy fellow and thank you very much. Ikaw talaga in demand ka na sa media. Okay. Thank you very much, Doc Rontgene, and please take care of yourself, sir.
Thank you, Sir Cito. Stay safe also.
Okay. That's Dr. Rontgene Solante. Ayan po, kahit pa paano binigyan niya tayo ng konting kaalaman, gave us a little input regarding the need for vaccination. Kahit ano po ang sabihin nyo, iba na yung nabakunahan kayo. And yung mga kaibigan ko, mga katropa ko na senior citizen, I am fully vaccinated, Sinovac, nag-iingat pa rin kami. We still observe wearing a face mask, face shield, and social distance. But please get vaccinated kasi yun lang po talaga ang kumbaga karagdagang proteksyon nyo. Let's all consider what God has given us and do the best we can to honor our bodies, not only our souls. Sabi ko nga don't let yourself waste away because tinamad ka, natakot ka, etc. I'm Cito Beltran, and that is Agenda for the Day, for the week. Continue to watch us on channels 8 and 250, and thank you for joining us, and For keep it here for the latest news. We are One News.